So speaking from the position of a patient has just been diagnosed with cancer. And we understand it, the shock, the turmoil that's just gone through and everything. Now, then they start reading your book. They will go into your website. Okay. Do you think that patient believe what you write?
I hope so. I mean, I first of all, I've got two books.
Yeah.
The first is my big book,
Yeah.
which was the first book. I put everything that I knew.
Yeah.
And I think that I've set out the argument at the beginning, because you have to confront the argument. What is cancer? What are the issues? You know, you proceed slowly. You lay the ground out carefully.
Yeah.
But it is a long book. It's a thick book, and it can be daunting for people who are not educated, perhaps.
Yeah.
They don't read big books.
Yeah.
In the same way that, you or I would read a big book.
Yeah.
So I wrote a small book, and I thought, well, I'm not going to just summarize this, because that's not interesting.
Yeah.
I want to look at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
So I said, well, okay, what are the strategies? In my big book, I look at all the diets in one chapter. Then the next chapter, all the supplements.
Yeah.
Next chapter, all the herbs,
Yeah.
all the machines,
Yeah.
all the people who do funny things, and so on. In the small book, I go this way. I say, what is this herb and this supplement? They're doing the same thing. What is that thing? So I look at it from that point of view. And it's a thin book, so less than 200 pages, and I think that's perhaps more effective for many people. It's still serious. It still gives a lot of information. It doesn't give all the information. Some people will say, oh, the little book's enough for me. Other people say, oh, I need to know more, and they'll go for the big book. Some people will go for the big book and then read the little book and say, oh, yes, this is much more interesting. This is a good way of summarizing this information.
What's the what experience, what kind of feedback do you get from these people who read the book?
I got one from one engineer, 70-year-old engineer. He wrote to me, and in fact he was very kind. He wrote to me and said that I'd written the best books he'd read. He'd read a lot of books, and in his opinion my books were the best ones because they were the clearest. And as it turned out, we live in the same town. So we met for coffee one day. And he's 70 years old, and he has a liver cancer, I think. I'm not quite sure what, maybe it was a lung cancer. Anyway, he shouldn't be alive. He's still alive. He's doing alternative things. He does different, we didn't really discuss what he did, but he was happy, and but basically he gave me a very nice testimonial, and so I put that on my website. It was very nice.
So, but from the experience of others, do you have many people coming back and say, hey, because of your book that I'm so-called safe from all this treachery?
No. I did one. Usually I get letters back from relatives of people, all right, and I got an email from the niece, and she said, thank you for your book. My aunt says she's never felt healthier in her life, right? So the aunt who bought the book and was doing the things didn't write to me, but the niece wrote to me.
That's amazing. My impression about Westerners is that they like to express by India writing and tell people about it. That was my impression.
No, I don't think so. No, it's certainly not English.
Oh, not English.
Maybe American.
I see.
But so, as I say, I've had some very interesting things. If you go to my website, I've got
Yeah.
pages of testimonials. They tend to be from people I don't know what their connection is. I mean, people who just say that's a great website. You're doing a lot of good work, you know.
Yeah.
Or people who have their own organizations, who are reviewing the book professionally. They have all said good things about the books.
The thing that at the end of the day I was wondering is that having spent so much time really providing the information, the next thing I just would like to ask is, as you said, do they really believe what we write? That's the first thing. And then I think that you have possibly said, do they really believe? Or am I wasting my time, really?
Well,
what do you feel?
I feel very frustrated sometimes.
Why the frustration?
The frustration is, well, it seems to me so obvious.
Yeah.
But sometimes people, you know, occasionally I get someone who writes in and tries to argue with me, and I just say, read my book. Go away, read my book. I'm not interested in winning an argument. I'm not interested in having an argument. It's a waste of time. An argument's a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
Read my book, you agree with me, or you don't agree with me.
Yeah.
But it's your decision for you, not for me.
Yeah. Right.
If you disagree with me, that's fine.
Yeah.
Go away and disagree with me.
Yeah.
If you agree with me, that's fine. Go away and agree with me.
Yeah.
But I don't, you know, I don't need to hear it every week, you know.
Yeah. But in general, put it in general, having put so much time and efforts in your website and the books and all this, do you find satisfaction in what you do? From the feedback?
This last year, a year ago, 18 months ago, I put out my book, my big book.
Yeah.
I self-published that.
Yeah.
And over the last 18 months, I've been thinking of ways of promoting it, of bringing it to people's attention, getting reviews.
Yeah.
And now I'm tired. Now I have to move on to something different.
Am I going to say that or predict that you are not going to write another book?
On cancer?
Yeah.
No, I think I probably am. I think I'm probably going to write a book with you, am I?